Welcome back to another Film Geek movie review. Today I am off to check out the new historical drama starring Helen Mirren, Golda. This tells the story of Golda Meir, the Prime Minister of Israel during the Yom Kippur War in 1973. Now this biofilm, it's not like a lot of typical biofilms. It's not going to go over Golda Meir's entire life. It might do a little bit just to get an understanding of her, but this film is mostly focusing on her actions during the 1973 war, the Yom Kippur War, and all of the events that led up to and during it. I'm really intrigued by this film because, to be perfectly honest, I don't know a lot about this piece of history. I know a little bit. I've checked out a couple of documentaries, mostly just about Golda herself, and let me say, she is known as the Iron Lady of Israel, and what a fascinating person in history. Check out some documentaries about her. But enough of me sitting here talking about this. I'm really curious to see this film. It is also, before I get out of here, it's also a Bleecker Street film, which if you've been following my channel, they've had a pretty good history with me so far. So I'm curious to see if this film is going to be added to the list of good Bleecker Street films that I've seen. So yes, it is time for me to stop yammering and get out the door because I'm gonna go see Golda. Welcome back. Just getting home. And you know, guys, I did enjoy this movie, but there's a couple of things I'm going to talk about. Okay, so let's get this started, shall we? First off, we're going to do the negatives first, and then the positives, so the video could end on the ever so important high note. Okay, so really one of the things that bothered me, and this is funny because generally I complain about movies being too long, but I feel like there was still much more story that needed to be told, mostly for Golda herself, because we only get to see this one event of her lifetime. And like I said in the intro, she was a very interesting woman, and I really wish that this film could have dove into some of her other experiences she had in her lifetime. But it didn't, and I feel like it kind of holds the film back a little bit because you don't really get a really good understanding of Golda Meir as a person. You just get to know how she handled this one situation, just not as she was as a leader in other situations, just in this one wartime situation. But it doesn't really make the movie terrible, it just left me wanting more by the end of it. Also, if you are expecting this film to have big battle sequences, this might not be the movie for you, because this is not a war movie as you might think. It does take place during a war, but we don't get to see the war. It's actually told from behind the scenes. It focuses on her and her cabinet and the politicians and generals and all around her and all of the people that helped her out during this time. It doesn't focus on the battles and what's going on outside of her realm. So you don't necessarily get to see anything going on out there, but it, again, doesn't hurt the movie. I just feel that it's something you should know if you're somebody who thinks they're going to go see this big battlefield type of film that also talks about what was going on behind the back scenes. You're not going to get that. You are just going to get to see what was going on behind the scenes, and that's it. Now, personally, that didn't bother me. I just feel that that's something that needs to be said. If you're someone that hears, okay, this is about a war, I'm going to get to go see a lot of war and explosions and stuff. But no, this is a dialogue-heavy drama biopic, not a war movie. Alright, so that's pretty much all I have, and I wouldn't even really call those negatives, but those were the things that really stood out for me with this film. Now, positives. First off, right out the gate, Helen Mirren is absolutely outstanding in this film. This was a very good performance from her. I mean, yes, she's well known for her excellent performances, but this one itself was very, very good, and she is the main focal point of the film, so you really need somebody who knows what they're doing in that role, or it's just gonna kind of drag the film down. And believe me, Helen Mirren knocks it out of the ballpark. Excuse me, Dame Helen Mirren knocks it out of the ballpark in this movie. The acting isn't the only thing that shines in this film. Cinematography is also very good. I wasn't expecting a movie that takes place mostly inside living rooms and office spaces to have such good cinematography, but here we are. It does a lot of really good following shots. Like if she's walking down a hallway, the camera will follow behind her, or there's a lot of moments where she's wandering around with her generals and all talking, and it's just a really, really good handheld cam type of moment. So they really put a lot of thought into the cinematography of this film and the way it's shot. It looks absolutely fantastic. It doesn't look like a low-budget film, although I'm sure it didn't have a very high budget. I don't think Bleecker Street films are very high-budget movies. And that's something that the war thing too, okay? So yes, you don't get to see the battle sequences, but the movie does this other thing where it's almost like you can imagine what's going on. I don't want to go into too great a detail, but there's an excellent scene where everyone is just sitting around listening to the radio and the battle is going on over the headphones for them, and they're listening to everything that's going on. And it's like you're there, not necessarily with the people listening. It's like you're there in the battlefield. You know what's going on. You can hear the sounds and you can visualize what is happening to those soldiers during that moment. And I think that was just an excellent, excellent thing that they did in the film in order to portray the horrors of war, but they don't actually have to show you what's going on. Very, very good use of a budget in that manner. So yes, guys, I think this is an excellent film. I really enjoyed it. I think Helen Mirren is going to probably be looking at some awards later on down the road for this movie. This is a solid one. If this is something you're interested in, if you like historical biopics, if you like very dialogue-heavy dramas, this is definitely the movie for you to go out and see this weekend. So you know what, guys? That's all I have for you today. Thanks again for checking out the Film Geek. If you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, and give me the old thumbs up so I know you like what you're seeing. And also, too, share my videos. Get the word out there. Please do. I would love it. I would love more subscribers. Alright, guys, if there's one more thing you can do, that is keep watching movies. You know I'm gonna.